All right, so Gitrog Monster. In addition to the historic anthologies that are happening every 4 months, 6 weeks after approximately set releases, every month on Magic Arena, we get a new Brawl Commander. Excuse me. And Gitrog Monster was the Brawl Commander for February, I believe. It says here, 6/6 Depth Touch. You get to play an extra land each turn. Whenever one or more lands are put in your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a land. Now, what else is going on in here? We've got some Cavalier of Thorns. One of my concerns here is last time we played Gitrog Monster, it ended up feeling worse than Cavalier of Thorns almost every time. So one of the things I'm going to want to think about here, since we're only on 3 Cavalier of Thorns, is when we draw Gitrog, how often would it have been better as a Cavalier of Thorns? Now, cards from the new set that we have in here, we have Knight of the Reliquary, 2/2 for 3, gets +1/+1. What's up, dude?
New Papa Joe, new Papa.
All right. Knight of the Reliquary, 2/2, gets bigger for lands in your graveyard. Can sacrifice a forest or a plains to search your library for a land. We have a couple of utility cards here. We've got a Bojuka Bog, which was a new card in the latest set. We've got a Ghost Quarter. We've got Field of Ruin. We've got Blast Zone. We've got 3 copies of Field of the Dead here. We've also got Dryad of the Ilysian Grove here, which turns all of our lands into forest or plains to sacrifice with Knight of the Reliquary. And we've got 4 Dread Presence here, which allows you to deal damage whenever swamps come into play under your control. We've got a couple of Crucible of Worlds here to replay lands from our graveyard. And then we've got Grazer at the bottom of our curve here to get some ramp going, and Trophy as an interactive element. So, Field of the Dead mid-range deck with a little bit of utility and a Dread Presence access. Let's hop on into some Historic here with this and see how it goes. What CD? Thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. You love Knight. I've been trying to make it work in a Bant Shell with Risen Reef. Yeah, I can see that. Get both those cards play well off of Land War Elves on turn 1. I mean, I think that's one way to interpret it, Camboni Machine. The way fiscally conservative tends to get used in politics today, though, is basically just means never spending money on anything progressive. It means when you talk about things like Medicare for all, you ask the question, how do you pay for it? And then even when you get an answer, you ignore it. Hey, thanks for 11 months nap time. Almost there as well. See, I'm not certain that Scapeshift would be bad in this deck. I feel like there could be a real argument for including Scapeshift in this variation. Dread Presence will go for 4 value with a land like Urborg. I mean, well, we have Dryad here, which gives you a similar effect. Like this makes all of our lands every land type. Scapeshift is another card, honestly, that we should probably think about. Is Gitrog Monster better than Scapeshift would be? Yeah, actually, I put together a Bolas to Citadel variation for the deck queue. We're probably going to get to it tomorrow or Thursday. I put it together last night. My monster's bigger than your monster. My monster's bigger than your monster. Neener, neener, neener. Y'all ready to draw some cards? Oh no! Oh no! My frog's about to get ambushed, chat! No! No! Gitrog! Come back! It's a trap, Gitrog! Oh no! Oh, they're all every type. Deal. Perfect. And again, like, that spot there, thinking about it, this would have been better as a Cavalier, right? Like, if that had been Cavalier there, we would have been better off. We would have gotten a land out of it, and it would have dumped something useful in our bin to pick back up. Maelstrom Pulse sounds great here. This is not a Crucible of Worlds matchup. Need to be lower to the ground and be a little bit more interactive. Legion's End could be okay here. This cleans up a good Burning Tree start, and it deals with Pelt Collector. Yeah, if it had been Cavalier, we would have had more tokens with Field. I would not recommend crafting this card with Mythic Wildcards unless you have an abundance of them. I think especially on the draw, I probably want a little bit more removal. Dread Presence is probably a little slow. Maybe I trim a Field of Ruin. Thank you. I knew I was missing something. I felt like my turnover was too short. I mean, I don't know that I'd call it hate for Hypnotoad. I think I'd just call it realism. Somehow fitting that I finished my first year stuck at home with nothing to do but watch Jeff and play with the kids. Thank you for the very generous tier 2 sub, Vanu. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Yep. We'll see if removal spell is good enough here or not. Yeah, Gitrog seems very good as a brawl card. Like guaranteed ramp seems appealing. You definitely can, J-Rock. Welcome to the Knights of Hooglandia. So we're going to 10 here. Oh gosh, I completely forgot that the census was supposed to happen this year. That's a good question. I have not dows. I don't know what that is. Is it just something you fill out by mail? I don't actually know how a census works. Do people like come to your home and ask you questions, or like what's the deal? The J-Rock, thanks for doling out some sub-gifties. Welcome to our newest members of Hooglandia. Remember, the gift of speech that J-Rock giveth, the gift of speech J-Rock can taketh away. It's mostly done by mail or can be done online. Okay, that's probably fine. Seems like not a big deal. Yeah, there's instances, and again, the instances where you don't know someone who's had contact with a confirmed case, everyone has almost certainly had contact with unconfirmed cases. The number of cases in the United States is going to spiral out of control, similar to Italy, as is, and it's going to spiral even further if we don't go into a lockdown soon. Esper Mage, thank you for the 12 months of Prime. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Let's get you a sword while you're here. Hope your exam goes well. Isn't Dread Presence really good? It's really slow. Like, what would you cut to fit Dread Presence into my deck, and why is that cut? Would you cut the 5-drops? Like, the 5-drops at least block well. Sitting here with 100.8 degree fever, running nose, and a slight cough. Yep. Sure, Sunshine. Yeah, relevant related links are always welcome in chat. Yes, making a command sounds great. I've had many tell me that if you're young and healthy, they don't need to stay home. They are very selfish. They are. And like I've said a couple of times on stream already, you should remember which of the people you know acted that way. How people act during a time of crisis like this, when their actions directly impact the health of others, it says a lot about who they are as a person and how much respect they have for other people in society. You would have cut the elves? See, I think getting to my 5-drops as soon as possible is really important. Speaking of, I think this is a good example. I just dropped this here because I want to get to my frog on turn 4. Michael Marchui. Lost sub midstream, quickly fixed. Thanks for the 5 months. I wouldn't be here without folks like you. Thanks for keeping me around. Fred Wick, thank you for the 29 months. Jeff's doing it again. He's threatening people with consequences of their own actions. I'm a very bad person, you know? What can I say? I think in these types of matchups, getting to Gitrog and Cavalier as soon as possible is really important. So watch this. We're going to sacrifice the forest, which draws us a card. And then I'm going to cycle this, which cycle lands trigger Gitrog as well. So I get to draw 2 cards now. Then we draw for the turn. And let's play Knight of the Reliquary, which is a 5/5 currently. Yeah, unless they hit Red Source Ember Cleave, we should be heading towards done very quickly. Sidbit, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. I wouldn't be here din and out without folks like you. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm gonna jump block here. Wow, apparently I didn't click it fast enough, so hopefully we don't draw something to do with this mana. You should always float mana with your land before you have to start putting a pause there proactively. Maelstrom Pulse, you say? Oh, I shouldn't have sacrificed a green. I can't cast a Cavalier of Thorns now, which is unfortunate. That is worth noting. This Gitrog is kind of better than a Cavalier here. Although, these other 2 in my hand are worse, right? Well, I don't think I need to stop, right? Because I'm trading here. And then it is worth noting that, like, Gitrog is creating a little bit of awkward tension with Field of the Dead here, right? Giving up my dream of being a Shillionaire for Naya Ranger and Historic. Sounds good, Sako. I actually didn't realize how high some of the points in the Historic queue had gotten until this morning. I think I'm going to cancel Standard at least one day this week so we can get through some extra Historic decks. I think with the Historic queue being that ballooned up, I want to prioritize it a little bit more. We're on the scoreboard, chat. What's the Naya Ranger list? You can always check out upcoming decks if you'd like to bump them or just take a peek at them by looking at the deck queue on my website here. If a deck list currently does not have a link in the deck queue, that means it is a build-around submission, which is waiting for me to put it together when that archetype gets to the top. I think I mulligan this. I'm actually going to keep that to cycle it, because it'll make my Night of the Reliquary bigger. I can't cancel my Magic Online sections this week, because I agreed to play in a streamer tournament thing on Saturday that's Pioneer, so I need to test out a couple of Pioneer decks that I might want to play Saturday later in the week. Strong Sad Todd Anderson of SCG fame is coordinating it with a bunch of other streamers. So I'll be live Saturday afternoon playing Pioneer on Magic Online for that. Thanks for the half a year, Juspert. I appreciate that. Welcome. Cycle this, looking for an untapped land here. Does that mean we'll be playing reasonable decks in Pioneer till then? I think my plan is to play a deck queue deck tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday I'm going to pick the Pioneer decks we play. Perfect. I don't actually have link to the details of the tournament. I don't really have a ton of info on it. It's just going to be Saturday at 2 o'clock. You know, there's going to be, I think Todd's channel is going to be rebroadcasting people who are streaming, and everybody playing it's going to be streaming. Yeah, everybody playing it will be streaming their perspective. And then they'll be rebroadcasting it on their main channel. On Todd's channel, I believe. It'll be live, Beansy. It's a charity thing that we're mostly doing for fun and to entertain people, so making good content's gonna be the primary focus. Well, I mean, if this stays in play, every land is a swamp. Got him. I fought the law and the law won. Do 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 do. One could argue we were a master at beating shit. Swamp was a good draw there. By the way, speaking of weekend entertainment with Magic tournaments being offline, something Christy and I are tentatively considering doing for the next, 2 weeks to a month while people are locked down and locked in, ourselves included. I might be changing my schedule a little bit to taking 2 days off in the middle of the week and then streaming on the weekends. Just so, because Christy is still working from home. So that way she wouldn't have to have kids running around 5 days a week too while she's doing that. We have Field of Ruin in play here as well, which will let us get a swamp and kill another thing here. I think we're actually taking over and stabilizing this game. Dread Presence looking pretty impressive here with Dryad. Yeah, it's hard to know what viewer counts will look like. I'll probably miss some of my regular people doing that, but at the same time, those people can always catch up on YouTube later. Frogs gotta come out here. It's just expensive and slow. Bringing in all my cheap removal here and my shifting Ceratops. Need 4 cuts here. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, this could be a match where Rejuvenator comes out. Would I rather have Rejuvenator or Knight of the Reliquary? Probably Rejuvenator. Knight can technically be a ramp spell, and this searching up Blast Zone can be very, very good in this matchup. And this is just a large beater that can help us race, which is appealing. Hey, not a committee. Thanks for upping that Prime. I appreciate the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Hope you're having a reasonable Tuesday in these crazy times. So I just took Teamer Adventures and added Nexus of Fate. Stomped 3 games in a row now. Like, you're winning? Yeah, I'd believe that. And I hope you updated the mana base too. You gained some buddy lands. Although I guess that deck wants a lot of basics. So maybe it doesn't even want that many buddy lands. I could definitely see that. In it to win it. My company's CEO sent an email asking people to consider CDC recommendations for social distancing and avoiding large gathering. We have no work from home order in place for our office of like 100. Yep. Any consideration for Elvish Reclaimer in this deck, or is it just too slow? I'm going to give you a break to go look at the deck list. Thank you for the very generous tier 3, Greg. I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping me around. Manguchi said Historic is one of his 2 favorite formats, along with Vintage. Yeah, this is the Vintage of Arena, right? Houston has shut down all bars and restaurants, prohibited gatherings, and 10 or more people. Good. Hello, oldest son. Rawr. How you doing?
And then.
You're crazy? Shh, don't yell.
I want to tell you something, Daddy.
What's wrong?
I want to talk.
You want to talk?
Yes,
They can hear you talking.
Well, sometimes I know why. Oh, but going card.
We won!
What?
Did we have fun? Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had fun. Me too.
But go card. Get one. Now get more card, Daddy.
We need to get more cards?
Yeah.
We have a lot of cards. Daddy's a whale. Can you make a whale noise? Hmm. Hmm. That's good. I like you. I like your tiny whale noise. Pretty good. You're a great kid. Oop, down you go. All right, Forest, Grazer. Seems pretty good to start, huh? Jungle Howl gives the perfect thing to drop into play here.
Look, diamond bio. Diamond bio.
It does have Giant Fire. You want to show the internet that? It's pretty cool.
What diamond bio? What bee cover? What bee? What bee? I would say it is here.
All right, sweet. So I think with this drawn, I was thinking about cycling this, but with this drawn, I'm just going to drop it into play tapped and guaranteed my 5-drop next turn.
Daddy, I'll try your work. You will try the call, Daddy. You call that.
Okay. Someone's elected to play Esper. Let's see how they deal with Field of the Dead.
Daddy, I'll try your call.
Grab a white source here for if they get rid of this for later. We are Deputy of Detentioning my Cavalier of Thorns. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Wonder if it's going to pay off for them here. To the person who is actually recommending a different card. My wife required a gift sub for child whale noises. Thanks, Muritan. Yeah. They thought your whale noises were pretty good, Jake. Alright, so they're probably Esper Hero, right? I imagine. I feel like even Esper Hero or Esper Control, I want Ceratops.
Hey, Daddy, I'll play Shuckle. Daddy, I'll play Shuckle.
So I think a Boreal Grazer is probably a card to trim here in matches where we're going to be grinding. Card gets ahead, but it's card disadvantage. What shelves are those behind me in the background? I don't know. If you ping Krillydactyl on Discord, that's my wife. She could tell you. Coma Cake, thanks for the 25 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Their control, we want Liliana for control. Honestly, even Hero probably has Trawler, right? And we shouldn't be too poor against Trawler because we have Ceratops and Cavalier here as well. Do I even want Maelstrom Pulse here? Maybe I don't, actually. Yes, MTGO decks are currently $50. Trying to limit the flow of those a little bit and encourage more Magic Arena. But dollar bills are dollar bills. How is Frog Field? Frog was actually pretty impressive in our first match against Skrull. They aren't from IKEA, but they did take a little bit to assemble. I don't know what I want to cut here. Is it a land? I feel like I don't want to cut lands against the Esper deck. Need one more trim here. Maybe it's just a knight. Knight probably dies a lot of the time. He closes the door like 50% of the time. Oh gosh, chat. You know what card this deck needs? And I realized it. Dear Wizards of the Coast, this is what you need to print into Historic next. Could you please print Nantuko Monastery? Nantuko Monastery would be so great. I love me some Nantuko I've killed so many people in Legacy with Nantuko Monastery, chat. Did I submit 61? Nah, it's submitted 60. Any creature land would be great. You're not wrong. Mods, please social distance me. I know you've been talking about lack of COVID testing in America. To your point, the hospital where my wife works, disease control coordinators repeatedly won't let them test patients unless they report traveling. In one case, the patient was unconscious, but the coordinator still wouldn't let them test the patient because they wouldn't confirm their history. Yes, when our benevolent orange dictator went on TV and said point blank, if you want a test, you can get a test, he was lying. Donald Trump is incapable of telling the truth. Let's see if we can get him here. Rats. Gambled and lost, chat. Field of... Oh, I already had a Field of the Dead. It's probably wrong to get another.
I've got it.
I feel like because we missed... If we hit land drops every turn from here on out, we might have a shot. If we keep missing land drops, I'm not sure we're going to be able to win here. Definitely want a green-black land.
Hurry. Here we go.
Sure, there probably should be some guidelines, Hive Mind. But at this... Actually, no, I don't even agree with you on that. At this point, if the Trump administration hadn't refused help, we would have enough tests accessible to just get everybody tested. That's what should be happening. Look at what's going on in Korea and how they are testing, and that's what should be happening everywhere where they're prepared and the administrations actually care. There is a press conference every single day moving forward out of the White House, from my understanding. It happens about 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Central or somewhere in there.
Let's try this. Hey, that was not so fast.
Meddling Mage. Dread Presence. Okay, yeah, that's pretty smart, huh? Because Dread Presence would kill this. wonder if they're gonna have a counterspell for Dreadhorde General here. That's probably sadly true.
I do love a good death wail.
I do love a good death wail. Well,
No, I am not making this up as I go.
of course it was terrible. It was a good reminder of why Trump stopped doing press conferences. Because he's bad at them and they remind people that he constantly lies to them. So we have 5 differently named lands currently, need 2 more. Our Cavalier of Thorns is coming back up here. It's a good draw. Have to just do this now because we're currently playing Hearthstone. It was funny. Christy actually turned to me at one point during one of the press conferences and was like, does everybody who gets up there and talks at some point, are they obligated to praise Trump? Just like the number of the number of yes man, you are a wonderful, glorious leader that goes on from everybody that gets up and talks at those things while he's there is just like, it's sickening. I don't ever really need double white, right? Let's get more green-black lands.
We need to move quickly.
Next land we draw, if it's named differently than the ones we already have, we'll start producing zombies. They do have a Deputy of Detention, but that's not too big of a deal. Oh, hostage my hostage. They're releasing a new class. That seems like a big deal for that game, huh? That Hearthstone releasing a new class is kind of like Magic releasing a new color, right? In a way.
Keep up the pace.
Because their colors are basically, their classes are basically their colors. They already have 9 versus 5. That's a fair comparison. Yeah, that was the thing that really made me pause and like lose interest in Hearthstone as a whole, is the way they divide up classes in their game makes the deck building depth a lot less interesting on average, in my opinion. Made it harder for it to, the part of games like Magic that like holds my interest so long, which is why formats like Historic really appeal to me, bigger card pools that are unexplored especially, is having that non-rotating format aspect or deep card pool with lots of card combinations. And the way you can't mix there. I don't know. Like, I really didn't want them to have the Virulent Plague. Feels like we're losing this game regardless. I'm not sure I really had choices there that allowed me to get out of this.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Meddling Mage is currently locking me off of playing Gitrog, if anybody's wondering what that's doing. Is the Gitrog Monster. Love that it puts a mouse over of it too. Your name is pronounced like strife and not grief. I don't believe that for a minute, Grief. Thanks for the 12 months. Have a sword to go with your shield.
Poo-poo, Daddy.
Well, that didn't pan out. Trust me, I have a plan.
Hey, JVL, thank you for the 37 months. Is Canada gonna, we're dead. This is Jeffrey Emblem. Is Canada gonna close the border to the US? I thought they announced yesterday that they were closing it to non-US people, or to everyone but the US. Huh. Would I rather have trophies and Maelstrom Pulses than Knight of the Reliquaries? Yeah, it's everyone but the US from now, but they were leaving themselves the option to close to the US in the future, was my understanding. Unless that's changed today. I honestly wouldn't be surprised though if Canada gets a grip on this and we don't, and then they end up closing their border to the US before long though. That wouldn't surprise me if that's an outcome. I think I mulligan this. It has 2 lands that are doubles. It doesn't have anywhere near the green here. I think this is pretty unlikely to live. I think I'd rather keep the Shifting Ceratops since it's uncounterable and attacks through things. Yeah, but I would expect, and maybe this is just optimism and not being familiar with Canada too much, but I would expect Canada to be more forceful about actually closing things down than the US. Unfortunate that we didn't find a Field of the Dead there or another land that we didn't already have. You're in Winnipeg and everything is shut down. Good. Historic is set to get new cards every quarter. So approximately 6 months after each set release, or 6 months, approximately 6 weeks after each set release, Historic will get a Historic anthology of a new injection of cards. So essentially, Historic is going to get new cards every 6 weeks, because you'll get a new set release, and then 6 weeks later you'll get an anthology, and then 6 weeks later you'll get a set release again. I fully expect, Fulgrim, that unless the US changes course very drastically, very quickly, that things are going to be worse here than they are currently in Italy. I do not think that is an unreasonable assumption. I would love a Field of the Dead. I'm going to leave this back so I can trophy this at end of turn.
Stand by and watch.
Okay, hopefully this trophy on the deputy here is going to let us kill this Teferi nicely. This is Dryad of the Grove. It's named the card I'm not playing. Deck's undefeated, literally perfect. Confirmed, deck confirmed, busted. Hasn't dropped a game. Hasn't dropped a match, sorry, dropped games. Easy mulligan here. No green sources. This isn't amazing, but it's definitely keepable. We'll bottom the second Gitrog Monster. Thanks for the 2/3 of a year, Meatballs. I appreciate you keeping me around. Yeah, I'm going to keep that. We can play that on turn 3, and then this Knight of the Reliquary, for people not familiar with this card, this can technically be used as a ramp spell. So after you untap with it, you can float mana with the land, sacrifice that land, and then get an untapped land, which is quite good. As an American, the US definitely looks like it's heading the way of Italy very soon. I agree with your conclusion. Honestly, I think it will probably be worse than that. Because of Donald Trump and his supporters and them being devoid of reality. You voted for Yang after he dropped out. All right, I'm going to give you a timeout. That's an impressive level of stupid. Glad you have enough privilege to protest vote. The rest of us are trying to get sick people health care. Remember when decks were silly things like Celiflid Breakfast? Calling the deck Abzan Frogfield feels the same way, except it is descriptive. You're right, it's super descriptive. Feel like we're in an okay spot here. Aladane, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. You're eating my zombie. Sure. Do I trophy something here? Probably not. Someone had just asked, has Frog been at odds with Field? And here's the first game where that's definitely the case. Although Frog in and of itself is looking pretty good here, so... After all of this is said and done, every TV personality on any news station that treated this as though it wasn't real should be fired and publicly canceled from ever working in the entertainment industry again. They will have end up costing lives during all of this. And they should be permanently canceled. So Pulse sounds good here. Some Legion's Ends may or may not be fine. Ghost Quarter's not super useful here. I think you could make an argument that they should be jailed for inducing extra panic during, or costing lives during a public health crisis. You're not allowed to shout fire in an open public gathering. You shouldn't be allowed to spread stuff like that on television. Bottom of Grazer here. We'll have a turn 2/2/4. Hopefully that's good. I am very confident there will be no consequences for them. I didn't say anything about Republicans or Democrats, Doof Monster. I'm an actual unbiased individual founded in reality. So yeah, if there were Democrats that downplayed this too, they should also be removed and canceled. I'm not some complacent idiot just voting based on a D next to someone's name. I believe in consequences for people that do things that are wrong. After 2 months, this ends up being no worse than SARS. If this ends up being no worse than SARS after 2 months, then the reason why it ended up not being bad was because we actually implemented precautions and they worked. Correct. Keeping people safe during a pandemic should not be a partisan issue. I think we're getting a little run over, chat. Anything you do before a pandemic will sound reactionary. Anything you do during one will not be enough. Yep. For being super technical, COVID is technically a SARS, since SARS means severe acute respiratory syndrome. Sure. Thank you for that tidbit of knowledge, Deus. Thanks for the 17 months, Rekindle. WFAV, thanks for checking in for the 5th month. I appreciate you sending that Prime this way again. Yeah, I guess I'm keeping, but we really need to draw some lands, huh? Remember in the movies where the scientists are like, people are dying, just get ignored, and the audience goes, no way, why aren't they listening? That's what's happening in real life. Yeah. Yep. Does this deck need more lands in it? The Yarok field deck we've been playing has like 31 lands in it. Does this deck need like 2 more lands? Is that possible? I definitely feel like we're losing way more games to not having enough lands than to having too many. Need to grab... Maybe I'm supposed to grab field there. I don't know. I feel like depending on Dryad to live is ambitious. I wasn't taking this seriously until med school friend showed me an article on ARDS last Tuesday. It scared me straight. Do you have a link to that article? Welcome back, Mr. Payne. Thanks for the 7 months. Maybe I should have led on this because it's a 2/4. Although I probably would have blocked Zerta Goblin. Alright, would have been screwed either way. Alright, if we hit an untapped green source and then get to play Cavalier here, we could be okay. And we're dead. Feels dead, man. Oh, I should have done this in response. I should have done this before playing this, right? Because then I could have played Cavalier next turn. It doesn't matter. We don't have outs. Thanks, Mr. Bean. All right, can't win them all, right? I think I want to cut a spell for a land. Well, there's 3 swamps to be fair. What if I just, like, add a Fabled Passage? That doesn't seem unreasonable. Passage is good with Knight of the Reliquary as well. It's Ghost Quarter just to shoot up with that. I mean, you can draw it too. There's a press conference live now. That's early. Sure. Third Grazer. Not the best draw. Oh my Gyarados. Thank you for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Yeah, Ghost Quarter plus Crucible is really good because Ghost Quarter can kill base 6. So you can, like, actually wasteland people out of the game. Peak Magic the Gathering is adding a 29th land to your deck and then missing a land after you keep a 3-lander. Time to rage out a 30th. Hearthstone update. You will now never get duplicates of a playset of any card you own until you own the whole set. Sure, that's way more consumer friendly. That in conjunction with crafting, I really hope that Hearthstone and Arena both have a race to the bottom in terms of consumer friendliness. That would be very good for people playing these games. Let's kill this Field of the Dead in response. Yep, Tumos. There's going to be cases everywhere. Sugar, we're going down. I guess I'm playing this with nothing else to do. There's no way we're competitive here, right? Like, our linear game plan is, like, much worse than theirs. We don't have counter spells. We don't have Unmoored Ego. We have GQ, Crucible, and Trophy. Okay. This game's pretty done, though. We don't really know what a determined best deck is. Before the most recent anthology and unbannings, I would have told you that Gruul was the best deck, but we don't really know for sure in a post-anthology 2 world. Legion's End and Maelstrom Pulse both seem reasonable. Casualties of War seems fine. Blast Zone's not super useful here. I'm going to trim that. I need 2 more cuts. What do we think our cuts are? Yeah, Dread Presence has whelmed a little bit so far. Sure. I think Crucible in the opener is pretty good here. I think I like Knight of the Reliquary because it gives me access to searching up our ghost quarters in our field. I think I'm going to cycle this so that way we can hit untapped land, play Crucible, play this from the graveyard. Huh? Let's just play this now. So really want to draw an untapped land next turn. Do I even need to? No, I don't. I don't need to, right? Do I? So if I do this. So I do this. I tap this. I knight this. I get to get a Fabled Passage out of my deck so I can get green mana. No, fuck! Ah! Damn it. I thought I was canceling. I thought there was a cancel button. So obviously I wanted to play this so I could replay it. We're going to lose this game because of that. I think we're going to be in a really good spot. And now we're going to be super far behind because I just didn't use my mana for the turn. Yeah. So I should have had a 2-4 in play. And an extra land. So if I do this, I could Ghost Quarter them twice. I could Casualties. I could Pulse plus Trophy. I feel like I'm supposed to just get Dryad online. God, this turn, we'd be really far ahead here if I hadn't messed up. Oh, Casualties would kill Golos and Kenrith, huh? I don't think I need to prioritize killing the Golos at the moment, though. Because they don't have all their colors of mana, right? So I think I just pass here. Gosh, if I'd have had this in play last turn, I'd be up a land this turn. I'd just be in a great spot.
This isn't a fight you can win. Enough.
Feel like this game was a good example of why Knight of the Reliquary is really excellent here. We're gonna get to pop off next turn. Okay, so let's Dread Presence. Will playing and cracking Fabled Passage get 2 triggers? Yes. All right, sweet. I'm really glad my misclick didn't cost us that game. That was super impressive. I feel like I want a 3rd Crucible in the sideboard. Anybody else feel that way? Like that way, 3rd Crucible sounds like really excellent. Do I want other Dread Prisons? Probably not. I didn't really need the Dread Presence to win that game. It was just nice. Like Crucible in the Born with Karn to fetch it up. Sure, yeah. I guess I keep this. This technically turns into a really slow white source. We could just get lineared very hard here. Hopefully they just like go land scape shift, then we legions on them since we drew that. You cannot Field of Ruin your own land. We can Field of Ruin their land once we give it to them. That was turn 4 Agent of Treachery, right? Yeah. A small land discrepancy currently. Do I give them a turn with this? I think I'm okay giving them a turn with that, right? Yeah, Knight being able to accelerate you is very, very good. For sure. So, the tough part here is they've got us squeezed a couple different ways, right? So I can like kill this and then Ghost Quarter this, but then they still have Golos, which gets to activate. Do I just kill their Golos here? Is that crazy? I feel like I'm supposed to kill their Golos here. Yeah, they have a swamp, and they have a Golgari Guildgate. They have 2 red as well. The Golos gets out of hand very quickly. I agree with that. And I have like Legion's End to keep this in check for a hot second. And then like I have fielded it on my own to block for a scotch. We did play Pioneer this morning. It was a dumpster fire. looking for a way to take this off the table. That's true. I could Ghost Quarter plus bog them. It's a very good thought. Man, where's a Kessig Wolf Run? Where's a Kessig Wolf Run when you need one, chat? They have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're one land off of play Golos and activate Golos in the same turn. Back in 2010 modern, right? Yep. I have a swamp and 2 forests left in here. Obviously, we should splash red for cleave. Obs. We can kill Golos with Dread Presence triggers. Is that true? That's not true, right? Because I don't have... if I had the other thing out, we could, but I don't. Yeah, Elf would have to hit a swamp. But, like, look at how many swamps are in my deck, chat. I have 1... I actually only have 2 swamps in my deck. So... I think we just play this and hope for the best. I guess we'll start here and grab the other swamp. Although this fetch, if I want to draw here, means I don't get zombie tokens. Which is awkward. I already played a land for the turn, right? Right? I already played a land for the turn, so there's no reason to play this out now. I should just play this. Never forget, chat, Magic is nothing like gambling. Very low variance, high skill game. The mana pool does have a scroll bar. Which is kind of weird to me, because, like, there's plenty of space here, right? Why does it need to scroll? Why does it just, like, fill off to the left? Like, there's a ton of open area. Oh, gosh. They got to swing again? Golly. So they're going to bounce their Agent of Treachery here, I assume?
Excellent timing. Time for here we go.
They're dead to a removal spell now, right? Right? They're dead? Did we just win? my friend. GG. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh! Oh no! They're still dead, right? They go block. They block these. They block 1, 2, 3, 4. They die to this plus this. All right, listen. Obviously, the deck we're playing is really good because I tried really hard to lose there and the deck just wouldn't let us. I would like the record to reflect that I invested myself in losing and the deck was just like, calm down, Jeff. We've got this. All right, so, I feel like my one takeaway from playing is that I really want another Crucible. I think this Liliana Dreadhorde General in the sideboard is kind of silly. We have Shifting Ceratops and Cavalier of Thorns that block Dream Trawler, and we can just go wide around it, so I think we just ignore that. Punishing Waterfalls, thanks for the 28 months. Is Reclaimer something this deck is interested in? Instead of me telling you you're wrong, tell me why you're right. What problem does my deck have that you're solving by adding Elvish Reclaimer to it? Why is that a card worth playing? Hey, what's going on, Chromaticos? All right, yeah. I felt like I was... It felt good to play Knight of the Reliquary. I'm looking forward to playing, like, I've got a Naya Lands build in the queue that we're going to work on and play other decks. I really hope this is a format where this card could end up being playable, because this card seems super sweet. Karn the Great Creator. Yeah, the Gitrog, I agree. The Gitrog was kind of underwhelming, and I kind of really like the idea of Karn the Great Creator exploring a small sideboard package. Like, I could see a world where we cut, like, these 4 and, like, play 4 Karn, and then, like, you have Crucible, Cage, Spyglass, and some other miscellaneous artifacts in the sideboard that could be useful. You could play a Shadow Spear. Yeah, Shadow Spear for Giant Knight of the Reliquary. We joked about Kessig Wolf Run, but Shadow Spear for Knight of the Reliquary when it's huge would be like a real finisher. Platinum Angel doesn't sound particularly useful. Having an artifact sideboard package, Immortal Sun, that's a good one. Yeah, I think playing Karn in this core with like a 4 to 5, maybe even 6 artifact package in the sideboard sounds super reasonable. Sounds super duper reasonable. Also, another card that's kind of fun that you could get with Karn is you could totes play a Wishclaw Talisman in the sideboard, because when you give the Wishclaw to your opponent, if you have Karn in play, they can't activate it. Yeah, you could play a Golos in the sideboard too. Yeah, there's a ton of range of sweet artifacts that you can get out of the sideboard, and like as this format grows, you could get more and more sweet things. And again, just non-rotating format brewing, definitely some of the best deep card pools are wonderful. Up next, we are going to give a try to something a little bit mid-rangey here. We're going to kick the tires on some red-white angels. I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll. I get everything set up and flipped over. And when we get back, hopefully we're going to fly over the top of some people. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.